Ball pythons are very reasonable snakes to take care of and generally are quite simple as well. But unfortunately, to people who haven't done really any research or don't really know much about snakes, even just the word python can sound too evil or something that it just rubs people the wrong way. There are 41 species of pythons and none of them are venomous. Ball pythons kill things by constricting their prey. Most people think they die from just having their bones crushed, but the prey actually dies from asphyxiation. And I hope it's clear to you that this thing can't eat me. Given this individual one's a baby, ball pythons will still never be able to kill you. A fundamental fact is that more people have died from their cat's water bowl than from a ball python. Also, a ball python is never going to bite you because it's mean or because it just wants to. That's just not part of their nature. They're only going to strike at you if it's stressed out and is trying to defend itself, or for whatever reason your hands smell like rodents. Also, it feels necessary to mention that while they're in shed, they're a bit more defensive because their eyesight is actually a bit impaired, and that's a reasonable reason to be defensive. With that said though, I've never been bit by a ball python, and this one has never even tried to bite me. She's just a nice snake. Now I'm going to be going over what you can expect to do for the next 20 years for your snake, if it's the baby like this one. First, in the morning, I always like to check the temperatures to ensure nothing malfunctioned, because obviously I don't want a cooked snake or a frozen one. Now then, I also just turn on the light in my room or a lamp nearby just to let my ball python know that it's morning. So then it knows that it should get some sleep because they are nocturnal animals. Now you also want to switch out their water bowl every day, or at night I suppose. It doesn't really matter, but just as long as you switch it out every day or every other day, just keep it consistent so your snake can stay hydrated. Handling is the most flexible quote-unquote requirement of owning a ball python. And the reason being is because they're not like a dog that craves attention every second of the day. Obviously, I still want to handle it so it's used to handling and so it won't bite, of course. But with that said, it probably wouldn't care if you go off weeks without handling it. Just do everything I said before every day, but every 7, 10, 5 days, depending on how old it is, you're gonna have to feed it. I highly suggest feeding it at nighttime. I usually do a handful of hours after I turn off all my reptiles' lights. And the reason being for this is that since they're nocturnal, they do prefer to eat their meals when they're active, and they're active at night. I won't go too in detail on how to feed, just that you have to implement it into your schedule every week or every how many days you feed your ball python. An amazing thing about them though is that if, let's say you have to go out of town for like a week or so, you don't have to worry about finding a pet sitter for them. Usually it should be okay if you just leave your ball python there, because 1, the light from your window should be enough light to let your ball python know what time of day it is. 2, your temperature should be fine, because if you have a heat mat and a thermostat, you should be able to set the temperatures to the correct requirements. Like I said before, if you're going to be gone for only around a week, you can just feed it before you leave, and then it'll be fine when you get back. And then if you leave with their water bowl completely filled, it should be fine. And if you still do have some family members at home while you go out of town, you can always just have them refill the water bowl every day or two, and then it should be reassuring to them that they won't have to feed it. Either way, your snake should be perfectly fine for situations like that. Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention that I'm weighing this ball python every week just because it's a younger one. I want to make sure it's on track with what the weight it should be. Now what you're going to be doing with them and for them basically every day may not seem like much because it isn't really much. So if you're thinking of getting a ball python, I recommend it because they're fairly simple to take care of, aside from being extremely picky sometimes, but yeah. Anyways, see you next time and thanks for watching.